without in any way impairing the nutritious meals that we want all of our school children to receive. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator from Wisconsin.
President, I appreciate the amendment by Senator Collins. I understand her concerns about how proposed changes in nutrition standards may affect producers in her state. This issue does relate to child health, so we need to be careful what we do. I've been working with the Senator on this issue, and I think we've made good progress. I hope that we'll be able soon to have language where we can come to an agreement. Mr. President, I note the absence of a quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Akaka.
Could suspend the quorum.
Without objection.
I just want to join Senator Cole in saying how much I appreciate Senator Collins working on this amendment and the purpose of the amendment, and think it's a good addition to the bill. I also think we had a good exchange of ideas on the floor yesterday, and would note that we've received a number of amendments to the bill, and I encourage my colleagues to offer amendments that they feel would improve the bill that is in front of them. Senator Cole and I believe this is a good product, but we also believe that it will benefit from debate and discussion. We're looking forward to an open amendment process and are glad to have the pending amendments to discuss, plus particularly the one that Senator Collins has just offered that we both believe is a good addition to the bill, and I would note the absence of a quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Akaka.
U.S. Senate in today for about another half hour or so. Then they'll break for their weekly party lunches. Debating today a spending bill, actually three rolled into one measure for fiscal year 2012. That includes commerce, science, transportation and housing, and justice as well. They will break at 12:30 for their party caucus lunches. You may have seen earlier a discussion, a colloquy on the floor between a number of Republican senators, and then Senator Reid weighing in on the issue of detainee policy. I want to let you know that we'll be covering another event on this issue coming up at 12:30 on C-SPAN 3. The Defense Department's General Counsel will discuss the administration's opposition to part of the defense authorization bill dealing with the detaining of terror suspects at Guantanamo. And that's coming up at 12:30 Eastern from the Heritage Foundation. That will be live on C-SPAN 3. You can also follow it online at cspan.org.
Yes, we are.
Ask consent that be vitiated.
Without objection.
I call for the regular order with respect to amendment number 750, and that the amendment be modified with the changes that are at the desk.
The amendment is pending. And the amendment will be so modified.
Note the absence of quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Akaka.
be terminated.
Without objection.
I ask that the Senate return to amendment number 775.
Without objection.
Tabs of quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Akaka.
With the House out this week for their district work period, the Senate continues debating amendments to a measure that includes three 2012 spending bills rolled into one. It includes several agencies: agriculture, commerce, justice, and science, and also spending for transportation and housing and urban development. The Senate also today, for about 45 minutes, discussed the issue of terrorist suspects being detained at Guantanamo. It's part of the debate over the Defense Authorization Bill. And just a bit later on, you'll be able to hear more about that from the Heritage Foundation. Their speaker will be the Defense Department's General Counsel, so you'll get the Pentagon take on that issue. That's coming up at 12:30 Eastern, and that will be on C-SPAN 3. Part of our coverage today also includes Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke, who's in Boston, speaking at a conference there. And he'll have a discussion on the effects of the recession, and that's at 1:15 Eastern. That will be on C-SPAN.
quorum call be dispensed with.
Without objection.
Mr. President, a Native American expression on the circle of life offers insight into a life well lived. When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. On Sunday, the world cried when Eloise Cobell left the earth. Eloise was a brave member of the Blackfeet Nation from my home state, Montana, who fought tirelessly for what was right. On Sunday, the world lost a great hero. Native American people everywhere lost a champion. Her husband, Alvin, and son, Turk, along with her entire extended family, lost an admired and irreplaceable loved one. And I can say, with deep gratitude for having worked with her for many years, I lost a dear friend. Through her persistence and determination, she drew attention to the federal government's mismanagement of Indian trust lands. She deserves the highest recognition and thanks for helping close a chapter on a bitter history of broken promises. For more than 100 years, the federal government did not fairly compensate Native Americans in Montana and across the nation for revenue generated from their land. Mr. President, it's billions of dollars the federal government squandered and wasted in not paying Native Americans revenues that they were due. It was Eloise. Eloise took up the cause. Others wouldn't. She did. She knew it was wrong. She knew she had a mission. She worked tirelessly through the courts until the judicial system finally recognized what she had uncovered. The judge in the case decried the federal government's action as, quote, fiscal and government irresponsibility in its purest form. I was proud and humbled to work with her on the legislative plan to help settle the long-standing Indian trust lawsuit. Last year, we passed bipartisan legislation to provide a long overdue conclusion for hundreds of thousands of folks in Indian country. And recently I joined my colleague, the present occupant of the chair, Sarah Tester, who introduced legislation to award Eloise with the Congressional Medal of Honor, the highest honor possible from Congress. Eloise Cobell fought for many who could not fight for themselves and brought a voice to many who died before being able to see justice served. May we never forget Eloise's long battle to right this wrong. May Eloise's memory continue to inspire everyone who believes that justice is worth the fight. And may the Creator welcome Eloise home with joy and tenderness as we offer our thoughts and prayers to her loved one. Our hearts are heavy as we mourn Eloise because she lived a life worth living. She lived a life worth rejoicing. Mr. President, I yield the floor. Jesse Evans, quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Akaka.
Senator from Montana.
Mr. President, I ask that further proceedings on the quorum call be dispensed with.
Without objection.
Mr. President, on another matter, I'd like to speak against an amendment offered by the senator from Arizona, Senator McCain, amendment number 740. Mr. President, this chamber approved three free trade agreements last week and did so with overwhelming support. But for many, that support hinged on passage of a robust trade adjustment assistance, otherwise known as TAA. Last month, the Senate approved trade adjustment assistance, and during floor consideration, an amendment similar to the one offered by Senator McCain was rejected. Why was it rejected? I'll tell you why. because a majority of senators in this chamber want to help small businesses. They want to help small businesses improve their competitiveness. And we want to help small businesses take advantage of the opportunities that trade provides. But this amendment would end the Trade Adjustment Assistance for Firms program. It would end the only program specifically designed to help small manufacturers hurt by import competition. It would end the program that helps companies adjust, retool, and stay competitive in an increasingly global economy. In 2010, Trade Adjustment Assistance for Firms enabled 330 companies to devise strategies that got them back on track. It helped them identify new markets. It helped them improve inefficiencies. It helped them restructure their debt and helped them find new financing. And the results prove that Trade Adjustment for Firms works. 98% of the companies that participate in the program are still in business after 5 years. Without Trade Adjustment Assistance for Firms, many of these companies would be out of business and their workers out of jobs. The program has helped create and retain more than 50,000 good-paying manufacturing jobs since 2006. And, Mr. President, I would think with unemployment at such higher rates, over 9%, and with a large vote in this body on the currency amendment with respect to Chinese manipulation of currency, it makes eminent sense to help American workers who have lost jobs, not prevent help to American workers who have lost jobs on account of trade. And that's what Trade Adjustment Assistance for Firms does. It helps workers who have lost jobs on account of trade. So Senator McCain's amendment would put those jobs at risk. I don't think that's what this body wants to do. We should not be creating jobs. We should be creating jobs, not destroying them. And for these reasons, I urge my colleagues to vote no on the amendment. Mr. President, I yield the floor. Suggested House form.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Akaka.
Ask. The quorum be rescinded, and Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent.
Without objection.
I ask unanimous consent. Now, Senate now go into recess until 2:15 p.m. as provided for under the previous order.
Under the previous order, the Senate stands in recess until 2:15 p.m.
And lawmakers are taking a break now to attend weekly party caucus lunch.